What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from ActTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to take some little bites. Little bites. Uh, I'm hungry. Are you hungry? This movie will not make you hungry. This is a new IFC Shudder horror film, and it's currently available on video on demand with audio description. Like if you're going to like Apple Store, Amazon Store, that kind of thing. That's where I got it. Because with IFC Shutter titles, if you don't see them theatrically or on VOD, good luck, because the audio description will disappear when they go to AMC Plus / Shutter, which does not support audio description, which is so bizarre. Anyway, so this film is super interesting because it's produced and loosely use the term co-stars Chaz Bono, but also Heather Langenkamp is in this. So shout out to Scream Queens of yesteryear, the Scream Queens who got us to where we are today. Pay tribute, damn it. Pay your tribute. So, the audio description I thought was really good. It's audio-wise, which has been doing a lot of stuff for IFC and Shudder. It's the Boggses. the Boggs. They've been doing a lot of this stuff, and honestly, it's pretty good. Really the only thing that they've done this year that I was just like, what the fuck is this, is In the Violent Nature. That was the only thing I was just like, I felt like, because that film doesn't have nearly the amount of dialogue in it, and that's a film where you could just have tons of audio description and you just choose not to. Like, you just made that choice. And I was just really let down by that movie. And Micah Grossman on that one. But yeah, pretty much everything else that they've done for IFC Shutter this year, I haven't really had a problem with. This is fine. And that's the short. I have to get into some spoilers because I have to be able to tell you why I'm not giving more than that. I've seen some other IFC Shutter films this year, like Oddity and Late Night with the Devil, that I thought were really good and are encroaching in my, do I want to put this in the top of my year, especially Oddity. I really thought Oddity was super creepy and interesting. But with Little Bites, it's like I wanted to be in the room when I wanted to be in the room where it happened. I wanted to be there so I could be like, okay, so you got this as the script. Have you ever thought about doing this? Because they're so close to making like a really interesting movie, but instead they just kind of make a pretty standard Shudder title. When we first meet our heroine, who is, I forget her name, I don't know, the mom. We're gonna go with the mom. She's a mom. Her daughter is currently staying with her mother, the grandmother. So the daughter is not currently sleeping inside the house. She's away. The mom is dealing with something, and what she's dealing with is in this other room, there's like a monster that she has to go in. It like rings a bell, and she goes in and feeds, and the monster feeds on her. It's like a vampire. And this isn't all the time. She does get to go out and do other things, but obviously this is taking a toll on her, which she sort of mentions as she's talking. She's like, I may have to go to the hospital, and vampire's like, no, you can't do that. By the way, props to the actor playing the vampire, because he was easily the best thing in this movie. Very creepy. For a film that was trying so hard to be creepy, he was very creepy. The movie's not, but he is. So you see her sort of evolve. She's struggling with this idea of, what do I do with this monster that lives in my room? There's a little bit of backstory as to how the monster got there, but it's not really evolved well enough, and I would have ditched it. And then there's this child protective services person that comes over because somebody's alerted them. Even though this lady seems perfectly nice, CPS wants to like come inside the house, even though the child's not there, which seems weird. Don't you want to go verify that the child is where she says it is and go to the house, go to the grandmother's house? Anyway, that didn't work for me, but I like the fact that CPS is showing up because it enhances what I would have done with the movie, which should have done with the movie, which is, and I actually thought we were going to do it. I thought the vampire was going to be a metaphor. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there's so many opportunities. There's the dark passenger metaphor where you could show that she's technically like a serial killer because, and that the vampire's never there because, and you can still get around that after a certain point because she picks up this guy that's at a bus stop and brings him home and sort of poisons ice cream and gives it to him. That's an excellent opportunity to sort of go the dark passenger route of, my kid has to stay at the grandmother's while I feed my dark passenger, you know. Um, that's not what this is. It could be an addiction movie because it could be she could be detoxing, and the monster could be like a reference to her detoxing. That's also not what this is. I mean, like, there's so many more intelligent things that this could actually have been, and still had the kind of drama and the pull. Because there's something about the monster who's always just like, "But you can't get rid of me. You know it would happen." She's like, "Well, I have to bring my daughter back because CPS is on my ass," and the monster's like, "Yes, introduce her to me," and like, you feel like that's so much. Like, I felt like this is so metaphorical. Like, this is so not to be taken literally. No, they want you to take it literally. She has an actual fucking vampire in her house because the girl can see her and has like a full on conversation with her when she gets there, the daughter. And it was so disappointing because I was like, you had so many opportunities to choose the more interesting routes and to have a horror movie that also says something, which is one of the reasons why so many people are putting Smile 2 in their top 10 of the year. It's not because it's particularly like the scariest film ever made. It's because Parker Finn also had something to say. He actually also used his brand to put something in there. And when you look at other films this year that IFC has put out, like The Devil's Bath, which tackles horror but also tackles like mental women's mental health back in a time when nobody talked about what mental health was. So you could do that. You just chose to make a kind of a straight up horror movie that isn't really scary, but features a guy who thinks it is. I'm not going to take anything away from him. I thought he was great. The rest of the cast is fine. It's just oddly paced because it seems like it's trying to go somewhere. And I kept hoping for it. I had all the best wishes in the world. I was like, oh man, this movie's going to be really cool if it turns out. Because there's even a scene when the girl gets there and the monster's gone. And she's like, oh shit, wait a minute. And she's kind of like losing her mind. And we're like, wait a minute, was the monster ever really there? Because we're pretty certain we saw some things that have to be true. But I was waiting for the movie to explain that and be like, well, what actually happened was, see, we saw the monster, but the monster's really part of her. And to like go back through and show us that. No, the monster just comes back to the door and like introduces himself to the little girl like 10 minutes later. Like, it's just so dull compared to what it could have been. So many opportunities missed in little bites. Like, it's not a bad movie, it's just a disappointing one. Um, so I think people will find at least the monster itself creepy. And when you have, little cameo pop-ups like Heather Langenkamp to get you through there. And honestly, the acting's not bad. The little child actress who comes in here, she's really good. She's not in the film that much, but she has an excellent scene with the guy playing the vampire. So, and it has audio description, and the audio description is solid. It's just I've seen more interesting horror movies this year, and this was just not one of them. So, sorry, Little Bites. You're just a little bit off from where I wanted you to be. I know I shouldn't be clever, but I'm gonna give Little Bites a C plus. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.